these motherfuckers have been titled Komaeda, only 30% of them are called Komaeda. This is fun. I recently finished Homestuck, the 2009 webcomic sensation of 2009 by Andrew Hussey and some monkeys with a typewriter, and I fucking love it. It's like a wonderful Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy-esque self-aware exploration of the webcomic medium involving animation, text dumps, odd structuring and timelines, time travel, paradoxes, multiple versions of the same character, some of the most creative symbolism I've seen in fiction, and a complete fucking Chekhov's arsenal, and there's just an unfathomable amount of recurring jokes and details you'd never expect to be important. It's so good. I also played Danganronpa last year. It fucking sucks. I experienced varying degrees of curiosity, Trigger Happy Havoc, Goodbye Despair, and Killing Harmony, and I can confidently say that this series sucks dick. The concept is amazing, it's so good. It's a multi-murder mystery where the killer can't escape and is in fact in the room at all times during discussion, where the new murderer is someone you have grown closer to trusting in the previous cases, and the mental impacts of the setting are absolutely fascinating to think about. The fact that the more you know someone, the more you'll eventually have to consider the chance that they're a murderer, that's so fucking nuts, but so cool. This premise is one of the best ever, and exploring its impact on people will be fascinating. If anyone fucking bothered to do that. But no, we got 3 games that explore this idea like 3 times over the 18 cases of the plot, and the rest of the time just rumbles the kids around in a funny way with dogshit murder mysteries that don't make the minimal amount of sense they needed to pass as somewhat entertaining. Oh no, what's that? That's right, piss boys, it's time for another edition of Worst Offenders. Number 4. Number 3. Number 3. Number 2. And number 1. So that's just a smidgen of what sucks about Danganronpa, not to mention the rest, like, I don't know, let's not mind the fact the third game has a minor sex, rape, hypno, hallucinations hotel. That's in the game, that's there, it's a feature, it is terrible, I hate it, and everything. I hope the scum who made the games are 6 feet under. I will now stop talking about why Danganronpa sucks. Let's talk about something else. Undertale. That's a good-ass game. I mean, it's kind of rude to even talk about it here. It's a very fair game in terms of plot, unlike the others, I guess. You can go through an adventure in various ways, and it changes. It's a video game, baby. It makes sense within itself and outside. It contextualizes nearly everything in acceptable ways, even the more esoteric bullshit, and does so with a great coating of charm and comedy. It's fucking good, bro. It's great. And there's this one guy in it who tells puns and talks in the funny voice and font, and has weird comedy powers to get around to places. What's not to fucking love? So what happened is, I don't know why people online say that they're similar. I think the best approach is this like Penn and Teller ass diagram where Vriska and Komaeda kind of share the trait of, I guess, luck as a plot device, and the Sans and Vriska share Megalovania? Huh? Something? This is stupid. And Sans and Komaeda have no fucking connection? But now you may be surprised to hear this, but the trick to differentiate the Sans and the web Sans is that one of them doesn't fucking matter for my ideas. This is a problem with character attachment and fandom perception, because when an echo chamber is rebounded through countless pieces of fan art and content, I mean, shit, if you like the game, you won't just ignore all the art you like, even if it's slightly misrepresentative of the character. So you have Sans from the game, a goofy, lovable little boy who has some neat powers, tricksters around and pranks people with. He's cool and enjoyably ominous, and if you kill his entire country, he gets a little peeved and abuses those powers to fight and maybe defend that place. That's pretty fair. I, for one, would also be a little rousy once my entire social circles as a whole were eradicated by a baby with a pair of ballet shoes. I think that's reasonable. But the fandom perception somehow missed that very real rationale over, again, being anti-genocide? I think Sans has a point here, guys. My point being, the fandom saw him as a cold, mysterious fucker for some reason. You dirty brother killer. You'd be dead where you stand. You're gonna have a bad time. 3 very short lines that for some reason echo themselves to walk before the funny little boy who said them in the first place. God, this outfit like meshes the worst with my hair situation. Like, I know it's bad, but like, I mean, the others are kind of, I guess Terezi was kind of fuck, but damn, this is bad. There is absolutely no conceivable fucking way that I can make my hair like not appear absolutely horrendous with this kind of hat on. Okay, yeah, no, like the Terezi one was like humorously bad. This is just really awful. Man, this just generally sucks. I think I'm gonna leave like this excerpt of just a formal apology, really. Yeah, okay. So, I don't care so much to analyze why this happened, but I do want to pull something up. I brought this split Sans situation because I mentioned how he shares no traits with Komaeda, even though so many say he's a Komaeda. So, what gives? Well, allow me to open one of the weirdest pieces of literary analysis tools in the web history, the Komaeda checklist. Now, what the fuck does any of this mean? I hear me ask. Well, no worries, for I do not know. But it rightfully points to 2 things. One is that the average Sans in-game portrayal for 90% of casual players is in no way shareable for a Komaeda. Seriously, there's like absolutely no comparison. I never got this one. Second is that Vriska is a case in point Komaeda by this checklist, but here's the biggest thing. I think Vriska is more of a Komaeda than Komaeda. Like, let's look at how Komaeda fits in his own ass checklist. Assuming you know what happens in the plot. And I say this because, spoiler for Super Danganronpa 2, Nagito's essentially a red herring. He does hide some neat plot points and reveals a lot of it later, but he essentially serving as a, whoa, look at this crazy kooky fella. Won't be so wacky of him to go psycho and get murdering. No, obviously. He's used up as a plot diversion bait for many investigations, and the reasoning for the plot surrounding him is plagued by one of the lamest lore elements in a fictional story, luck. When a character's superpower is luck, they're instantly written down as unkillable, I think. They're invulnerable for unexplainable reasons, deal with it, and they'll always get what they want, or at least that's how Danganronpa used it. Seriously, the fact that Komaeda successfully weeds out a person without knowing their identity due to sheer luck, who picked up the poison mushroom or whatever the fuck, like, that's completely horseshit, and makes his luck feel unwarrantedly plot hole cement they jam into whatever they needed. How did Komaeda survive the X-Crushing Roulette? Luck. How did he die because of the traitor? Luck. How did he draw the shortest straw and made out with himself to be around the crime scene of the first murder? Let me check my clock. Oh yeah, it's luck o'clock, baby. So that sucked ass, and did so for a good year, and while that didn't change, the fact resurfaced when it was revealed that Vriska claims to have all the luck. This was suspicious, but this was early in my knowledge of Vriska, I think, and also I was a little suspicious because her name walked a few steps before her. Nothing like Sans, but still, I was aware of the laugh behind the laughter. So this seemed like an awfully slippery slope, but as her dangerously devious dialogue dangled dipshitward, that's where I began understanding how I should perceive her. A megalomaniac. This is like take 4, I'm still I still think that's fucking funny. She may talk herself as being actually behind it all and puller of various strings, but in reality that's just because she wants this image. It's important to separate her from what she actually does. She kinda just sticks her hand in some points of history, if only just to say she was there. So, really, while Komaeda's actions were the crazy one, and he understood who the enemy was, there was little moral ambiguity beyond should he have wanted them all dead for the past crimes they didn't know of in this program made to make them better people, but the program itself is morally stupid and weird and I'm not getting into that? Vriska is a more interesting case. The whole thing with Hivebent, the section where the troll kids were introduced as a prequel-ish bit about how they got into contact with the kids and the game in the first place, one of the many points Andrew Hussey wanted is to introduce a race of aliens that was inherently genocidal and psychopathic. Their entire biology revolves around growing up alone to be a serial killer, and as you go, murder people that were born as lower classes on some hierarchy beneath you. It's fucked. It's really fucked, and the mistake many people made, and for fair reasons, was get attached. Why wouldn't you? You're told 12 of the trolls contact the humans, you should assume they'll all get to meet at some point, right? Great product of no. At some point, things escalate to absolutely horrid degrees, to a degree where some fans asked Andrew Hussey if he's just tired of the comic and kills off characters because he's angry at fans, which is, let's be real, completely ridiculous to think is even remotely likely into a story this late into itself and this complex by then, but still, people were distraught, but this was bound to come. Tavros' death was so horridly and constantly foreshadowed, it was scary to assume it to be true, but it was undeniable. And the rest, I mean, the first thing we knew about Eridan is that he has a genocide complex, in those words. Seriously, it was so upfront and ridiculous, but it paid off. He did snap on all fronts. Boss killed a child. Amazing. Mission complete. So, Vriska's moral ambiguity. On a human level, throw her ass on the gallows, no questions, she's done. But the debate surfaced because people knew that it was inevitable and or natural for her species. Which is stupid, because there's like no point or reason to defend her. Remember the time Richard Dawkins talked on Twitter about how exploring eugenics may be favorable to our species, even if it's morally wrong? It's kind of like that. It does not even fucking remotely matter if there is truth in your statements. There's no value in stating them if we aren't going to act on it, you know, for clear moral reasons. So why fucking say you'd be there for the morally fucked up pride, Mr. Dick Dawkins? What's your endgame? So it's kind of like that. You might be right that a species of murderers is going to have murders. Should you be? Again, you can still obviously enjoy her character in a literary way because she's well written to be a manipulative huge bitch. So, why am I selling all this? I don't know! Do I look like I have a point with my videos for a change now? As opposed to, say, I don't know, my 2-hour video where I basically concluded with saying that I got rumbled? What is the conclusion? That is not the issue. That is the issue.
The issue is your tissue!
Okay, tissueless discussion. Let's go back to Komaeda, a plot-invincible armored bastard with weird motives and a potential for craziness, whatever the fuck that means. If there's anything I want the word Komaeda to describe, I guess it's that? The idea of a clearly somewhat debilitating to the main cast kinda character, but they just can't really get rid of him and he keeps affecting the plot in ways you may assume he wouldn't deserve to. You may think I'm going back to Undertale, but sadly that story is actually good. So there's nothing really on that side of the blanket. Flowey? Nah, there's reasons. Tissue being, if you read Homestuck, you get the fucking joke. Gamzee motherfucking Makara, involved in the creation of the biggest enemy in Homestuck, also serves as that enemy's mentor, also lived in a fridge for half the plot, don't bring up the epilogues. just kind of existed for no foreseeable or past-seeable reason on a vast amount of planets and time points to sell you his fucking blood vial? Not to mention the fact that Andrew Hussey has insisted on many points that he had not actually ascended to god tier, thus confirming that he isn't a god. So, aside from the fact that we have no idea why he survived multiple magazines to the torso on more than one occasion, I also have to know that there wasn't a good reason for his dick to be out for half the plot. So, he lives in the vents for 3 years, fucks with Terezi, doesn't do shit, keeps all his victims as buddies in a fridge from, I think, Jade's house or something, which I am in no fit state to trace how that legendary piece of shit got to the meteor the trolls were on. But point being, he's the Komaedist character in Homestuck, and possibly fiction. Maybe Annoying Dog surpasses him? I don't know, I vaguely care. I'm not gonna start weighing in Sansa's implied teleportation and comedy as counterpoints. That's beyond me. And also my point anyway was that he's not a Komaeda? Komaeda doesn't even teleport, dude. Anyway, did I say anything in this video? No. Do I care? Roughly a no. Are you happy? Yes. Thank you for watching my video.